Okay, so good morning, everyone. And today we'll be working on the new chapters. I trying to upload it all the material required, and also the homework problem. So we quick for that, and that's really important. So we're gonna have all of this done. So I have checked most of your quiz grades, and that's really good. And I think that I will upload it, and most of you did fantastic on the quiz. I really appreciate it. So, and after that, we're going to have to let me share my screen real quick for that. So, yeah, this is uploaded the new material for chapter 7, part 3, and then chapter 8, part 1. And also, I upload a new homework. So, make sure that we're going to submit homework 7 and 8 over the weekend. So, I'm going to always start grading along the way. So, and then we'll make it unavailable again for the homework problem. So there will be a new homework after 2-day class. So that will be homework 8. And we're basically going to have like around 3 or 4 more homework, and 2 lowest grade will be dropped for the homework problem. So yeah, so any concern, any question that you want to ask? No? Okay, so still waiting for the um the presidential result, right? Anyhow, so again, that we have the quizzes. I'm gonna get rid of the quiz right there. So making sure that we're not gonna retake it. For that reason, I just want to make sure that people don't complain about the quizzes. Why my grade wasn't up. So right after I finished it, I'm gonna get rid of this column. I'm gonna keep this one. So after 2-day class, there will be quiz number 4 next Saturday, and so that will be in quiz number 7 in chapter 7. Oh, your grade's not posted. So it might be a little bit lack. It should be up there very soon after class. So I do apologize for this. Okay. But anyhow, I checked the grade for most of you, and then it's did really well for that part. Anyhow, so after quiz number 3, there will be quiz number 4. The quiz number 4 will be on Blackboard, and it's will be coming from this part of it, this chapter 7, and it's literally one questions again that we have earlier, and make sure that we are able to do it. So quiz number 4 again still be 10 points. Remember, the quiz grades are different from the homework grade. Homework grade is 5 points, but it's actually not 5 points. We only have 5 quiz, and each quiz is going to be 5 of 3%. So that's different. Homework is the total homework. The total homework points was only 10%. So each homework going to be 1% for that generally. Okay. So you got to be careful. The quiz grade weights a lot higher, a lot more than the homework grades. So make sure that we're gonna take the quiz seriously for that. I checked them. There were some of you who did not take the quiz for some reason. Make sure you're gonna contact me immediately. Okay. So that's really important. So after quiz number 4, there'll be one more quiz or 2 more quiz left. But it seemed that people, if you guys want to have the makeup quiz, for instance, I missed quiz number 2 for some reason. All right, I got that. So what that means, I would drop the lowest grade if we have like 6 or 7 quizzes. So that's important. And after 7 quizzes, that would be the total 5 quizzes grade would be added up, right, to the 15% of our grade column, and then 10% will be coming from the homework, 20% coming from the first exam, 20% coming from the second exam, and 35% coming from the final exam. So make sure that we know this weight. So after we finish covering chapter 8, there will be the exam 2 review posted on Blackboard. So we now having chapter 7 part 2, I believe, and then we still have some practice questions as well, right? And then we're going to practice a little bit more on chapter 7 part 2, and we finish cover chapter 7 part 3 and go part of like chapter 8.1. Okay, and after that we're going to finish chapter 8 next week. Let me just give you guys the potential exam that was going to have. So we're going to finish cover chapter 8 next week, and then we're going to have the review and the exam on 21st. Okay, let me just repeat that again. We're gonna have the review. So after the exam 2 review, we're going to have the exam. You have 24 hours to complete them, like the third exam that we did. When you started, you had to finish it in 2 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, so I just wrap up your 3 hours. So make sure that we finish the questions and uploaded the work for no more than 3 hours because I have a system that can keep track of the time. And then of course there are basically two systems for that. I can check them how many. You only have one trial. When you click on it, you have to complete them. But this time I will make the exam a lot easier for us to complete. Okay, instead of give you guys the short answers question, now I'm going to give you the fill in the blank question so you can get the result right away. So for instance, I finished question number 1. I have to put down the answers on it, and of course we have to submit work to get a full credit for that. But you will basically.
Professor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Good morning. Do we have the choice not to put the answer and only submit the paper?
I would prefer that, but the reason why I give that options, you don't have to put out the answer for that. But the reason why I give out that option because some people worry about the grade and after taking the exam, should I know the result immediately?
But like to me, it's like
Oh, I see.
you spend more time putting it,
That's
and
true. That's true.
that in my case, when I review the
Mhm.
paper, send it to you, if I see something and
Yeah.
I already send the answer, it's too
No, no,
late.
no. Yeah, I understand the situation. So you don't necessarily have to put out the answers, but
Okay.
you can put out the answers so that you can know the result. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't put out the answers, just submit work. If you put out the answers, you still have to submit work for that because
Okay,
the
so
work is basically the point. You can't just put down the answers and assuming that we got 100 out of 100.
I might
Yeah.
send the word only
Yeah.
because I
So
feel like I
mhm.
will waste time to put it both.
if so, the reason why I give out this option because if people put out the answers, then we
Mm-hmm.
know the result automatically. You see what I'm saying? So they don't have to wait like 1 week to know how many points do they get, whatever it is. If you got the wrong answers, but let's say I got 60 out of 100, but this is not the grade because you don't get a partial credit for putting down the wrong answers for it. But when I grade your work, I would consider all of the stuff that we did, and basically we're gonna get partial credit for that. Generally, the people who do not put down the answer usually get a good grade. Um, uh, on the exam
Yeah, the first time I did
because they don't have any pressure for that. So when they put down the answers, they under a lot of pressures whether or not
yeah, it's
they
because
get a
of the
credit.
time. It's like,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely understand your situation. So if you don't want to put out the answers, that's fantastic. It's not a big deal because I'm gonna grade your work sooner or later. But if you put out the answers, sometimes I don't have to look at your work because I know that people actually got it right. So anyhow, so that would be the exam 2, and then final exam will be taken on Blackboard as well. So the final exam should be on the same column that we have and under assessment. So let me just repeat that again, right? So we're going to finish covering chapter 7 and part of chapter 8 today. When we come back in 14, that we're going to have the chapter 8 cover. And when we come back on 21st, we're going to have the third exam review. I'm sorry, the second exam review, and then the exam 2. So make sure that we're gonna get that before Thanksgiving. It's always better to take the exam before Thanksgiving, and right after we come back from Thanksgiving, then we're going to have December 5th. So this is the date where we're going to finish up at 9. And I'm gonna give Val another 2 optional quizzes for those people who want to take it. Of course, there will be the quiz on 14, and then there will be a quiz on Saturday on December 5th. And after that, we're going to have the final review on December 12th. And then finally, we're going to have the final exam on 19. Generally, that we don't see each other on 19 because once we take the final exam, then we're going to finish the course. Okay?
So I have a question, Professor.
Yes.
Quiz on November 14. What quiz number is that?
Number 14 will be on chapter 7. So let me
No, the quiz number. When is quiz number 4?
The quiz number 4 will be next week. Okay, will be on November 14th.
Okay.
Okay, so let me.
Wait, I thought you said November 21st. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's
No,
exam. That's
November
exam.
21st, that will be the second exam.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we have November 14th, we have a quiz 2. Okay. And November 21st,
History, professor.
quiz 4. I thought, I have some, actually probably you gotta be considered for that. Okay. And so we have exam 2, right? I can't postpone until after Thanksgiving because we don't have enough time for that. So we have to take, I believe it's always better to have the exam to review taken. Like after we have the exam to review, we know what we have in our heads, and then we take the exam immediately. You're gonna do really well. If I just postpone until like after Thanksgiving and so on, so there's a lot of things going on, a lot of dramas, a lot of issues, and sometimes we forget it. So we always have to take the exam too.
Better before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's a lot of emotion and
Right off the bat, they're gonna see that. Well, we're gonna do really well on it. So
the
after,
potato.
yeah, November 28th, we have no class because I'm not going to be here for sure and enjoy my day, right, on the boat, maybe fishing or drinking, whatever it is. So we have no class for Thanksgiving, right? And literally, this is a good day for us. And after that, we're going to come back on December 5th. This is where we're going to have the quiz number 5. Okay, quiz number 5. Quiz 4. And after that, we have December 12th. I believe that's going to be and chapter 9. Okay, chapter 9. And this is, let me just put out a great, the potential schedule so you can see what it is. Okay, so this is exam 2 and review for exam 2. So making sure we still have class next week. Review for exam 2 and then the exam 2. And this today, after that, so we have a chapter 8, okay? All right, so we know what we're doing for that, okay? So when we come back on December 12th, meaning that we're going to have the final exam review, I'm not going to do anything on that day except for going over like the previous material that we have learned and then summarize and basically give you guys some practice final exam questions, okay? Final exam review. So generally, I'm going to make up like,
How many questions in the final, Professor?
I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you practice final
Okay.
exam. So it's basically same as except for the fact that the number is different, but that's the same type of problem. You see what I'm saying? The same type of the concept. So let's say and or, you have those. So we have to be on the exact same question that we have seen. I'm sorry, it's not going to be the exact same question that we have seen, but it's basically very similar to it. Okay. And the final exam will be on 19. So we don't see each other on 19 because we're going to have the final exam unless this is, I'm going to take attendance on that day, maybe wish you luck on the final exam and then, say goodbye to
Yeah,
each
we need you
other.
in for that day.
And one thing that I would say, I don't want to see you guys again next semester. This is a thing that,
No,
yeah, that is true. If I see you again next semester,
or not. I
Yeah.
had a couple of friends
make
that
me
want to
proud,
take it
right?
with you.
You better make me proud than you make me cry after the final exam. So after the final exam, so on that day, I'm gonna just take attendance on Zoom and then tell you the announcement for the final exam. So okay, so this has to be the final exam date. I can't change it. I can't postpone it. So this is a thing that we're going to have. Are we good?
Good.
So I uploaded on Blackboard for the final exam schedule, and this is a thing that we're going to be working out. And I'm gonna just prioritize this link because I believe this is more important than the from package link, but you're gonna keep them, right? This is very important. And if you have any issue for that, just let me know. So how many days do we meet up? So we're gonna meet 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Including, not including today. So you meet each other 4 more times, okay? And that's it. All right. So now we're going to it's very quick, correct? And now we're going to work on the chapter 7.
Professor, I had another question before.
Yeah.
If in my case, if I decide to send the work only, have to be into 2 hours or I have the 24 hours?
So when you start the exam, you have to finish it in 3 hours. Okay.
I mean, 3 hours. So I have to submit the paper before those 3 hours
Yeah.
anyway.
So let's say we start the exam at let's say at 9 p.m. So you have to finish it at 12 by 12 p.m. You have to submit everything by 12 p.m. You can't really
Okay.
submit later than that. I check the time. I might have to ask you to retake it. When you retake the exam, you have to redo it again. Or maybe you might get zero on it if you don't submit. I'm just kidding. I would never give anybody zero on it. But what I'm saying is that please try to submit it within 3 hours because this is the time that we going to have for the
Yeah,
final as
just to
well.
make, just to
Right?
make, yeah.
And then when we finish chapter exam 2, we're gonna just have one more exam left, which is the final exam. So the final exam, I'm gonna time it. So for instance, when we get together on Saturday, and then we need to start the exam after we say something for that. So, and then we have around 3 hours to finish and complete them. And the final exam is, I believe, it's really important. Okay. Um, but for second exam, we have 24 hours. You can start anytime you want to. As soon as you feel comfortable with the material, then just go for it. And then you can start, let's say, 5 a.m. in the morning, because I believe that is a good time for you to do the exam. And then you have, or maybe you can finish it at 8 a.m. in the morning. So this is the thing that we have. Anyhow, so the exam 2 going to be on this link, and you can see to what it is for the submission. If you have any concern, let me know. Of course, you don't see those because this is a thing that I will be the only one who can see this. Okay, so after the final exam, I really want you guys to get like a really good grade on it, A plus, A. Especially, I don't want to see you guys again next semester. Hopefully, not any of you. And that's pretty much the thing that we have to deal with. Now,
Professor, so when you gonna finish correcting the chapter 3? Because I still don't have my grade for that.
oh, you don't have to, which, was it the homework
For quiz number 3.
of a quiz number 3? Quiz number 3 was chapter 7. Okay.
It's a me too.
I will basically fix that at the end of class. You can see me during the office hour. I will be there for sure. And then you can ask
I
me
cannot be in
questions.
the office after because I have to go to work
Oh,
by that time.
you
But
I will email you after that. You can
okay.
let me your name. I'll email you the grade. Okay, make you feel happy. All right. Anyhow, we're going to have the chapter 7, part 2. Did we do anything for part 2? Did we finish that?
No.
Okay. No, we haven't finished that.
What?
Professor, can
Part
I
B?
ask a question?
Yes.
Can I had a lot going on this week, so I wasn't able to do the homework, but I did the quiz. Can I do the homework
Yeah.
this weekend and get it to you?
Absolutely. So try to do it by today because I will basically finish the homework 6 and 7 for all of you. So make sure that
All
you
right, I just got back from work, so I'm gonna try and do it.
and
Thank you.
you can see me during the office hour if you don't know how you do it. Okay, so try to do
Oh,
it
okay, I will.
today, and because I will be closing out homework 6 and 7 um, this Saturday, and hopefully that I will give you guys a little bit more time on Sunday to do it, so that I can start grading the homework, and after that the quizzes was basically agree on it. So if those of you who do not have the quiz grade, probably the system was lacking, or maybe I just put down a grade in the last minute, so it basically took a little while to get it done. But anyhow, so we finished. We I think that we have done question number 6. Or let me just double check the lecture notes for that. If you've seen that I haven't uploaded the video, let me know. Sometimes I thought I did it, but maybe never done it before. So this is homework. This is this is question number 5. So again, that we're gonna do the few the few homework problem and see what it is. Okay, so this is chapter 7. Okay.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
You've not marked the quiz 3 and the homework 6 that we did.
Mm-hmm. You basically go to see it during the office hour if you have time. If you don't have time, you have to work. Um, so that I want to email you for the grade.
Okay.
All right.
Thank Yeah.
You're very welcome for that. So the standard normal distribution. So this is a thing that we're going to work on, right? And then this is basically chapter 7 part 2. I just want to make sure that this is part 2. Okay, this is not part 3. Okay. So what is the standard deviation again that we going to have a certain mean and certain standard deviations. So this one is something that we have learned it before. And of course that we're going to take a lot of, so every data set, right? All data set data has different mean and standard deviation. So standard deviation. So this one is that we call it a sigma, and the thing that we have, which is called mu. Okay, if you ask me why they use these letters, I don't know, because they love to use them. So what that means that we have to take into account the mean and standard deviation no matter what. So in this case, all data have different mean and standard deviations, so they should have to use different letter for that. So we'll just call X. Okay, we'll just call X. Okay, we call X for that. We call this as X. I apologize for that. So, and after that, we have like the standard normal distribution. Okay, so what that means for this part, that we're going to have the Z. Okay, so the mean equal to 0 and the standard deviation equal to 1. So that's going to be a thing that makes those different, right? But realistically, you don't see the standard normal on it because also the question will be giving us the different mean and different standard deviation. Okay, let me just write on this part so you can see clearly what we have right there. So standard normal distribution. Okay, so that's really important. We understand that this has the mean. This is basically table 3 or 3A, right? So we learned it before, and or 3A. Okay, so we learned it before, and then we have to use this two chart on the questions and on the homework and on the exam. So that's really important. So this one that we call Z. Okay, why we call Z? Because it gives us the mean equal to 0 and the standard deviation equal to 1. Okay, so why is that? So let me just put them down, because the mean equal to 0 and the standard deviation equal to 1. Yeah, this is what we call the standard. Why do we always have to convert to this table? We can't make every single table for different mean and standard deviation. For instance, all data set, they have the mean equal to 25, and now we have another mean equal to 40, and another mean equal to 120. You can't make every single chart for this data set, right? So the only thing that we can do for that example is to convert to the standard normal using this formula. So what is the formula we need to do? The formula we're going to experience for that will be Z equal to the X minus the mean. So let me use different marker for that. So so the Z equal to X. So the X is here, and then we subtract the mean. We subtract the mean. We are using this marker, and then we divide it by the standard deviation. Okay. So this is a thing that we need to know how to convert it to the standard normal, right? So we divide it by standard deviation. After we get the Z-score, what we do next, we need to read the chart and to get the probability. So this is a thing that we going to be working out this chapters, okay? And of course, we have another thing for chapter or part 3 as well. So for this part that we're going to experience table 3 and 3A to get the probability correctly. Okay, table 3 and 3A, so that's really important. Okay, so this is what we have for the chapter 7 part 2. Okay, so this is part 2. We're gonna go to part 3 later on, but I'm gonna get more space for that, okay, at the end. So this one is really important. So now we're gonna do some practice problem for that. So the practice problem that we have here, there's question number 6. We only do part A, we're gonna do part B later on, okay? So this is question number 6 right there. Assuming that we have Robert, who actually take the jog with 2 miles every day, 2 miles every day, and his record of the time in minutes that takes to complete the jogs, indicating that these are approximately normal distributed with the mean equal to 12 and the standard deviation equal to 2.5. Okay, so that's really important. We have this information. So the mean that we have, which is called mu, equal to 12 minutes, right? And that's important. We're putting down, and then with this marker and the standard deviation equal to 2.5. Okay, so that's important. So we're going to keep that. And so the mean that we're going to rewrite them with this marker. Okay, so let me just point it out here. So the mean equal to 12. And the standard deviation equal to 2.5. Okay, so I want to write them down with different markers. So when we do it, we're gonna see through which number that we have to divide, which number that we have to subtract. That's really important. Okay, so after that, we're going to highlight a keyword for the problem. So remember, if the question gives us the mean and standard deviation immediately, that we have to go to chapter 7, 100%. So we need to highlight a keyword for that, the probability that we call P, right? So there's no doubt this is the P, okay? And then it takes Lauper. So Lauper is X.
At least 5.5.
Okay, X. At least means greater than. So we only look at the greater side and less than side. Okay, at least would be the greater than. So 9.5, which is right there. Okay, so we can imagine what we're doing for this. So this will be the X. So let me just remind us a certain keyword for that. So greater, I want to do it next page. Okay, so now we need to answer the question. So first of all, that we need to rewrite them with the probability P of X. Let me just highlight them.
That problem, and now I see what I have wrong.
Yeah, X greater than 9.5, right? And then we need to convert. So remember, when we convert to the Z, we're gonna keep the same thing. We're not gonna like do it like this. So we just basically have to transform from X to the Z using these formulas. So you have to keep everything the same. You do not change it. So the only thing that we need to do, we just put down the P of the X greater than, then will be the same thing, the P of Z greater than something. But we need to figure out these values, right? And then this value can be done on all the transformation. So how can we transform that? So we're going to use the Z score. Okay, so the Z score that we're going to have here. So the Z for this part. Okay, so the Z, what is the Z for? So the Z will be X minus the mean. So we're subtracting, I use different marker for that. So just want to make sure that we do not subtract the wrong number. So we subtract the mean, which is 12, right? So this is a thing that we need to put them down at the end. And after that, we need to divide it by the standard deviations. Okay. And then we divide it by the standard deviation. Okay, so we divide it by this. That's currently the thing that we need to deal with.
That's 9.5.
Yeah. So we're gonna take 12 equal to sorry. So it took me a little while to get used to this. So that'll be equal to 12. Okay. And minus 12. I'm sorry, 9.5 minus 12. I do apologize. 9.5. We have to take the X, subtract the mean, so which is 12.
12 over 25.
2.5, correct? And then we divide it by 2.5 in this case. Okay, just want to make sure that we use the marker correctly so that we can see through what it is and we don't make the mistakes on it, right? And then we divide it by 2.5. And of course that we have to get it done on a calculator. The reason behind them, because we shouldn't do it by hand. I know the answer is -1, but I just want to make sure that people we get it done correctly on a calculator. Okay, so I believe that's important to do it on the calculators correctly. If you have any trouble with the calculators, don't hesitate to contact me immediately. for the work that you have, for the work that we have done right there. So we're going to take 9.5 minus 12 over 2.5. So we have to hit equal. After that, we're going to divide it by 2.5. Okay. We got -1. That's important. So this one will be the answers for that. So -1 is this value is negative, right? Why is negative? Because this is negative. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. Okay, so this one is the negative values, right?
So you go to the negative chart.
So then we go to, so if this guy is negative, then we're gonna go to table 3, right?
Yes.
Out of table number 38. So the thing that we're going to have is I need to go to the formula package real quick for that. Okay, so this is a calculator. Let me just go to the formula package for this part. So formula package. Okay. So this is a thing that we have. Let me just pull it out real quick and start working on it. Okay. So this is the thing that we have right there. And let's go to table number 3. We're going to get -1 in this case, right? And then we're going to copy that and post those right there. So this is the thing that we're going to, I'm going to highlight them so that we can see that this is the column that we're going to, this is the row that we're going to take. All right. A little lanes. It's very distracting. All right. So, yeah. So that one is a thing that we're going to have to take the column out. Right. So this is really important that we're going to have this. Okay. So yeah. And then we're going to copy and paste in this case, so that basically a thing. We don't need the rest of them. We just want to take a look at the few this row for -1, and the column is 0.00. So we're going to take to -1.0, and then we go to the first column, right? Why do we have to take the first column? Because it's 0.00. So you can think of -1 as -1.00, right? And 0.00. So you can see through that the column that we need to take is 0.1587, and this is the thing that we have to deal with. So let me just fill up the blank for this a certain question like that, and we're gonna get it done immediately. So this one is -1. Okay. So what we have done so far, we basically finished converting from x equal to greater than 9.5 to the z greater than -1. And then we're going to have the final answers, which is equal to 0.1587. Is it the final answers, everyone? Is it the final answers? 0.1587.
No, it's not,
Mine is not.
because it's greater.
Yeah, we have to subtract from 1. Very good. Yeah, I'm so proud of you guys, because I'm so proud of you, girl, as well. And of course that we're going to take 1 minus 0.1587 because the size is greater than. So we got the answers, which is 0.8413. Are we good?
Yes.
If you see this question like that on the final exam, and this question worth 10 points on the final, 10 points, just doing that, would you be able to do it?
Yes.
Yes and no?
Yes, we will do. We will.
Yes, we will.
Okay, so so the first step that we need to do is what? The first step, we need to highlight the questions, the probability that's randomly, and then you write out the X, so we need to pay attention to the keyword at least, right? At least means greater than. So after that, we're gonna rewrite the questions, correct? And then we're going to transform it to z-score. And that's really, really important that we're gonna do the transformations correctly. If you subtract the wrong numbers, for instance, and divide it by the wrong number, you're gonna get it wrong. So the step was really important that we convert to the z-score, and then we basically have to deal with that. Apparently, this is not gonna be easy. Okay, and then we basically convert to the z right there, 9.5 to 1. Yeah, questions.
My confusion is I don't know, like where is if it's less than or greater than.
Yeah, that is a key, that is a good questions you're being asked. So how many keyword for the greater than?
So like I don't know what side to put the symbol on, you know what I mean? To face the X.
At least.
Yeah, so now we have to deal with the at least, right? Correct. And what else?
Most in.
More than, yeah, that makes sense. More than. And what else? Right? This is also the it basically the keyword that we have to use as well. And what else?
Greater.
Greater than. Oh, it's greater than is more than going to be the same. So
Most
no less than, right? At
less
most
than.
is different. No less than. So yeah, and that's important that we're going to keep this keyword correctly because remember that this is a thing that we have to deal with a lot.
Professor, you sound very low.
Yeah, I just try.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
But
It's better. So what does it mean by the less than? How many keyword for the less than, everyone?
there's like a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure that we yeah. Okay, so making sure that we have to write it down correctly. So the less than mean at most, correct? And we also have less than. So this is a keyword that we need to look at. And also we have to do with no more than. So that also be less than. So making sure that we do this correctly. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna mute a little bit. So I apologize if you just unmute it later on if you finish that. And so remember that this is a very important that we're gonna remember this and deal with that on the exam. So whenever I see the keyword at most, less than, or fewer than, or no more than, so that's definitely going to be the sign less than. So we're gonna box them and keep them till the final exams, okay, until the final exam. So
And I have a question,
yeah,
Professor. So whenever the value that we get on the chart is greater than 1, we subtract.
it's greater than. It's not greater than 1.
I
If we
mean,
see the side greater than, or
less than.
if the side less than, we don't have to subtract them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if it's greater than, yes.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to post.
Professor,
Yeah.
the last question, we did 9.5 minus 12 divided by 2.5. I didn't get -1.
You need to get it on the calculator. So
Yes.
so we need to do 9.5 minus 12 over 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got -1. You have to hit equal. So if you don't,
I didn't get that. I get 4.7.
you get 4.7. Like
Yes.
this, correct?
Yes.
Because you have to open and close the parentheses for that. So this is a thing that we usually make mistakes on the exam. So that's important that we open and close the parentheses because in terms of the fractions that we have to do subtract, you need to show the priority for that, right? If you don't open and close parentheses, what happens? The calculator will basically do 12 over 2.5 and subtract from 9.5. So when we do the open and close parenthesis for that, and then we divide it by 2.5, you're gonna get the answers, which is -1. Are we good? So I'm gonna copy these calculations on this board. What do you think? So I wanna just upload it, this. So you can see through what we're doing right there. Okay, so text says 83, and then we basically just finish this calculation like that. All right, just imagine that we don't know how to do this calculation. Now we can have something that you can read right there. Okay, are we good?
We have part B for.
Yeah, we have 6B as well, but we can't do 6B.
Okay.
But any questions for that?
Professor, can
No,
you
can
do
we do
another?
one more problem?
Sure.
One
No.
more problem.
Yeah, we're gonna do one more problem for sure. But if you have any trouble, make sure that we're gonna remember that we have to do the subtract first, so and then we divide. So when you open and close parentheses, we never make mistakes on it. This is very important because to be completely honest, most people cannot do this question because we do the wrong calculation when we convert to the z-score. When we subtract them, it's always important that we have to divide it by the standard deviation. That's critically important. And then after that, you're gonna find the answers correctly. So this is a thing that we going to be working out a lot of times for chapter 7 part 2 and chapter 7 part 3. So this is really, really important. So remember, after we convert it to the z-score, we definitely going to read the chart table number 3 or 3a. So we need to know if the value is negative, positive, then we go to the corresponding chart correctly. So after we get this value, so we have to think of it, whether or not it is the final answers and not the final answers. So if the size is greater than, you have to take 1 minus. If the size less than, that's it. You don't have to do anything. Okay. So this is a thing that we're going to deal with. So now we're going to do another question for that. So I would say question number 7. It's question number 7. Are we good?
Yeah.
So let's deal with that. All right. So the question number 7. I'm gonna give some space so that I can keep working on it on the next part. So let's say part B. Okay. So it's important that we going to highlight the mean and standard deviations correctly. So if you don't highlight them, we're gonna get it wrong. That's important. Sometimes if you're good, then it doesn't matter. But if we have trouble subtracting or dividing, so it's always better that you're going to highlight them. It doesn't cost us anything for that. Okay, so now I'm gonna highlight the mean, so using the orange marker, and then I highlight the standard deviation using purple. Okay, so we can see through what it is. So the mean and standard deviations will be 250 and 17 respectively. So now we're going to read the questions for that. So it's always important that the question is going to ask us the probability. So that would be the P. Okay. And we call this as the P. Yep. Definitely the thing that we're going to call them P. And then after that, we're going to have the actual cost, which is called X, right? And then exists. So what does it mean by exists? Anyone?
It's
Better than.
gonna
Greater than.
be greater.
Yeah, greater than. How do you know it's greater than? So we're gonna go back to this chart. This is exceed, right? Greater than. Greater than. Exceed mean greater than. It's always true. It's always true. And then the budget that we have is coming from this $230, right? And this is a thing that we're gonna put in there as 230. Okay. And now we're going to utilize this uh, to do it on the question, right? We're gonna rewrite them and do it on the questions correspondingly. So that's really important. So let me just make it a little smaller. All right. So we just redo the question like that. The P of the X greater than 230. And then we need to convert that to the z-score. So that's really important. We convert to the z-score for this. So we need to use a marker for that. The z greater than something. And of course that we're not going to spend basically a lot of space for them. So we're not going to put down like a lot of work for this. There's just maybe one single line for the z. So how can we convert them? We just literally need to take the z equal to, so I need to say some space for part B for chapter 7 part 3. Okay, and then we're gonna take the x. The x is given, right? The x is 230, and we subtract the mean. So mean is 250, and we divide it by the standard deviation. It's always be like that for part B. Okay, so that's really important. So we divide it by the standard deviation. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to give out like a perfect note. So just take a little bit of time to get it done. So I apologize for the writing for this. I just want you guys, when you read them, see what we have to be doing. The exams, basically,
Thank you.
yeah, exactly the same thing. So we're going to take the x is 230. So we're going to take the x equal to 230. And we subtract the mean is 250. So 250, I'm using this marker for that, 250. And then we divide it by the standard deviation. So the standard deviation that we got here is 17. So this one is the thing that we're gonna get it done for this. So we divide it by 17 for that. Okay, so we divide it by 17. Okay, and we have to do it on a calculator because there's no point that we do it by hand,
Yes.
right? So somebody's told me that, well, I would love to do it by hand. Okay, go for it, but it's gonna take you forever. And so we divided by 17, so we got the answer, which is negative 1.176. So remember that we have to round up to 2 decimal number, because why we have to round up to 2 decimal number? Because the chart always gives us 2 decimal numbers, so we can't really keep 3 or 4 or 5 decimal number because we don't have enough space to do 5 decimal number for that. So the at most decimal number, at most decimal point that we're going to take into account is 2 decimal. Okay, so we're going to read them, and the answer for that is negative 1.1a. Are we good?
Yes.
Negative 1.1a. And if you give me negative 1.17, what happened? I still mark it right. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, if you give me negative 1.17 on the exam, what happened? I still give you full credit for that. If you give me negative 1.18, so that would be slightly different values, but again, you're not gonna get the point deducted because I'm gonna round up when I put down the answer key or something like that. Okay, so when you have like a slightly different decimal point, it's okay. But remember, when you take negative 1.17, then you have to read the chart with the value that we found on it. If you take negative 1.18, then you have to use the value that you found on the chart on it, right? So it can't give me like negative 1.1a with different values and 1.17 and just randomly pick any value for that. So it has to be the thing that you found on the chart. So after we get this is negative 1.1a, so we know the fact that this one is negative. Apparently this guy is negative for sure, and then we're going to go to table number 3, right? So if this guy is positive, then we're going to go to table number 3a. So that's really important. So negative 1.1a will be something that you put it right there. So that's really important. Negative 1.1a. Okay. Change that to 20. And I don't think I have enough space for that. Okay, I think it makes sense. Okay, so this one we convert this, and then we're going to read on a chart negative 1.1 and 0.0. I think we have them, but I just erased this. Negative 1.1 and 0.08, right? And then we're going to go to this chart and let's do it. Okay, and we're going to go to 1.1 and 0.08. So this is a column, this is the row that we have to take into account, right? So 0.08 should be around this, correct? So 0.119. So we're making sure that we have to capture this one, right? Get to the end of the chart. So we're gonna paste there, and let's see. And what is the answer for that? Can anyone tell me what is the answers for that? So the answer will be, so we're gonna go to
The A up to the 9.
yeah. So we up to
A is 0301.
this one is 0.00. This one is 0.01, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the A is that one.
0.119.
Yeah. Right. Are we good?
Yes.
And this one will be the thing that we're gonna box them. And we're gonna put it down right there. Is it the final answers, everyone?
No.
Professor,
Yeah.
please back up. How do you find it on the chat? That's the line. That's why I get
Yeah.
confused.
So first of all, that we understand this is on table number 3A. I'm sorry, on table number 3,
Mm-hmm.
the value is negative, correct? Then we have to
Mm-hmm.
go all the way down, and we're gonna go to, so the starting point is negative 3.4, and then we have to go all the way down to figure out that we're gonna get negative 1.18. So remember that on the first column we only have one digit and one decimal number, correct? So first of all, that we have to go to negative 1.1, correct? And then we're gonna take this column. So how can we get 0.08? The 0.08, which is on this side, correct? You can see through, this is a second decimal number. So when you read them, so we're gonna read that as negative 1.1a. You see that? So we're gonna take the intersections between negative 1.1 and 0.08. You're gonna get this value, so which is 0.1190. Are we good?
But Professor, the point 8 is not given on the
It's
question.
70. 1170.
1170.
Mm-hmm. I
Mm.
think
No,
Oh,
it's
it is
negative.
1190.
Where you are? 116. 11. Negative 11.
Yeah. So remember that
Um,
we go to negative 1.18 is not 1.19. So if you go to
It's
1.19 it's 0.117, but
yeah.
we only stop at negative
oh,
1.18.
it's yes. You're right. I got it.
Absolutely. So we got the answers, which is, so you're going to read them as negative 1.18, right? Negative 1.18. So the value that corresponding to that is 0.11.
1190.
Yeah, and yeah, don't worry about that. I also have the same problem like this every year, to be honest. Sometimes I read it wrong, so just double check the answers when you read it, and so we're gonna get, yeah.
excuse me, Professor.
Mhm.
What if you didn't do point 8 and you do point 9, point 7, like as you get on the calculator?
If you do 0.7,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get the answers, which is 0.1210. It still be the correct answers. So the reason why I rounded it up, because I feel like the third decimal number that we have is 6. So I round up to negative. I round up a little bit, so that becomes negative 1.18. But for instance, that you're gonna keep me the answers, which is 0.121. I still give you full credit for that. Okay, remember, difference not gonna be really big, so I still give you full credit for that. Okay, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
All right, so we need to subtract from 1 for this. So we need to take 1 minus 0.119, and we got the answers, which is 1 minus 0.119. Um, so that will be 0.881. Are we good?
Yes.
If we
So
use,
then
for instance, if we take negative 1.17, what happened? If we take negative 1.17, you're going to get 0.121. So we'll take 1 minus 0.121. You still get the same thing. But it's not the same thing, but it's slightly different. So we should get, which is 0.879. I believe this is the answer that I put down on question number, no, I put 0.81. Yeah, the solution for that. Okay.
so
So
if
if
it's
you,
greater than, we always subtract 1, right?
you always subtract 1 because the size is greater than.
So when it's less than, oh, we don't subtract
We don't
one.
subtract 1. We just keep the answer
Thank you.
that we have found on the chart. That's it. We do one less calculation when you don't subtract, when you have a side less than. Okay.
Excuse me, Professor?
Yeah.
Do we always subtract one?
If the size greater than, let's say exceed or more than or less, or whatever it is. But whenever you see the size less than, then we don't have to subtract 1.
Okay, thank you for that one. Okay.
You're
Professor,
very welcome.
can you do the one that is less than?
Absolutely. So we have time, we're gonna do it. Okay. And since we don't have time, so I'm gonna do it after we finish part 3. Okay. We just want to do the question together. Okay. So remember that we convert the x to the z, seeing the size greater than, then we go into subtract everything from 1. If the size is not greater than, we just keep the answers as 0.119, that's it. But since the size is greater than, so we have to subtract 1. All right, so I believe 2 questions should be good enough. And if we have enough time, we're gonna come back to it. Remember, part B, usually a size less than. We're gonna deal with that later on. Okay, so we're gonna go to chapter 7, part 3. The reason why we need to deal with that because it's really important. So we call it the sampling distribution. Okay, this question will be something that you're gonna see on a final exam as well. And this question is 9 points. Okay, this question is 10 points by doing this. Okay, just show me the work like this, the work right here, and making sure that we're gonna box the answers at the end so that we don't lose track on it. And we're gonna box the answer as well. So we're not gonna lose track of the thing that we have so far. Okay, so all we have to box the answers in the final. So I see people who box the answers in the quiz. That's making me really happy for that. And also that when you read the chart, you don't have to post, copy, and paste the chart like that because I know what it is, right? So all the work that you have to show me is this one. So let me just put a check on the work that you have to show me. This one that you have to show me. This one you have to show me. This one, this one, this one. Okay. And also you need to show me 1 minus this and before we get to the final answers. So this is the work that you don't have to write them down like -1.18, so that'll be negative. That'll go to table 3 and then we have to upload a chart. This is the thing that I just want to let you know that the value is negative, then we have to go to table number 3. If the value is positive, then we have to go to table number 3A. Okay, as simple as that. So let's go to the next part of it. So this one is sampling distribution. That's going to be the thing that we're going to copy. We're going to copy for today. Yeah. It's really important. It's basically the thing that we have to deal with. So, yeah, questions? Okay, so the thing that we're going to have, which is called the big N. So the big N will be the population. Okay, this is the thing that we never know what it is. If we know what it is, then we don't need statistics. Remember that. There's a lot of things that we don't know. The thing that we know will be very little. So we have to be really humble for that part. The population N. So this is what is the N? What is the big N? The capital N is something that we never seen. Okay, which is called a population size. If we know this, then we don't need statistics. Just want to remind us that the size of the big population is very huge. Okay, if the population is not that big, then I can just use I just call this as data analysis or data analysis for that. So we don't need any statistics. Okay, we don't need any statistics. Oh, so what do you mean by statistics? Is that we're gonna draw out a small sample. So what we have done from chapter from chapter 2 up to chapter whatever that we learned, like chapter 5, probably chapter 6, whatever it is, it's not talking about a sample. So now we start working on statistics started from chapter 7, part 3. Okay, so this part of the chapter meaning that we're going to have a small sample size we call N. Okay, small sample, and this is more like a shred of light, and this is the entire jungle. And what we have to do, like we're gonna collect like a few species from the jungle, from the big jungle. We're gonna analyze it, and we want to see how this sample going to reflect to the population. So that's going to be a thing that we have to deal with. Okay, so it is really, really important because so this is what we call the small n. So when it comes to the small n, this is what we call the sample. So the n that we're going to have is the sample, right? So this is a sample. Okay, so a sample is really big. So make it small. That can fit into the thing that we have. Remember that we learned from chapter 1. So the way that we collect it is not the thing that we have learned. It's not quite easy. It's not quite easy. So let's say we're gonna collect like a few sample of the U.S. population to see who gonna support Trump and who gonna support Biden for that. So it's different, right? And then so this is what we call the sampling. It's not quite easy. Okay, it's take a lot of effort. It take a lot of steps to get it done without bias. So that is the thing that we skip them. Okay, so the sampling is basically we want to collect the data set randomly without any bias. I mean, with the least bias, we call a sample. So in this case, we have the M, which is called the sample size. Okay, sample size meaning that like how many members in within the sample. So that's going to be something that we're going to see a lot on the exam. Started from chapter 7.3 and chapter 8 and chapter 9, you always be given by the small sample size. Okay, we always be given like that. Always like 100%. Okay, 100%. So you always have to have this value because we're working on a sample. The statisticians, they only work for a sample. After they finish it, I only work through like a very small population size, which is called a sample size, so that I can see how this is going to reflect to the big populations. So what's going on for this is that so the population that we use the letter the mean and the standard deviation. So the mean and standard deviations will be given by these two Greek letters. If you ask me why they use these two letters to represent the mean and standard deviation, I don't know. Okay, I have no idea why they use this ones at the population mean and this one as a population standard deviation. So let me just rewrite them right there. So the mean that we have would be the population mean. Okay, it is something that we have to do with that. Okay, so in fact, on chapter 8, I basically have a small sections and asking us to identify a certain keyword, so you can see through what it means by population mean and what it means by population standard deviation. So we call it sigma, which is called a choppy O. This is what I usually call it. So we call this one as the population standard deviation. Okay, so we better have to get used to it for that part. Okay, so we call population standard deviation. So whatever that we have done, like the mean standard deviation like that, we're working on a population. We want to know like probability within the population, meaning that if you have known these two numbers, that we basically know almost everything within the population if it's follow the normal curve. Okay, so for the sample, on the other hand, that we're going to use X bar and then and what else? So let me change the marker for that so we can see to what it is, right? X bar and S. So we definitely going to learn from chapter 8 those two syntax more often. So the X bar that we have will be the sample mean. Okay, what does it mean by sample mean? This is the average that coming from the sample. We basically perform the same thing. We just add them up divided by the small n, the small sample size. You get the average for the sample. This is what it means by we call sample mean. It's just the average, but one within the population and one within the sample. Right? So we use X bar for the sample, and we use the mean, which is called the letter M for the population. That's simple as that. And for this part that we call S is basically the sample standard deviation. Okay, sample standard deviation. All right, so it's fair enough that we're gonna have those two, and on it. So the S should be the small s. It's not gonna be the big S for that. Okay, so that should be the small s. Okay, any question? So what happening for this chapter is that, so we want, so what does it mean by a sample? The sample is to what? The sample is to replicate the population characteristics. You remember the word replicate meaning that we're trying to mimic, we're trying to see like how similar of a sample compared to the population. That similarity we're going to use to analyze and understand the population behavior and characteristic. We want you to know what it is, right? If we don't have enough information, remember the only thing that we have is a small piece of information that we collected from the population. Okay, but this piece of information is random, so it's a good representation of that, and it's really, really important. So that piece of information is good enough. So sample is to replicate the population characteristics. Okay, it's really important. Characteristics. Okay, so this one is the thing that we need to deal with. So so understanding the sample is critically important so that we can understand the population. So in order to understand the sample, what's happening? So we're going to know, hey, I want to understand the sample mean and sample standard deviation. Okay, so I need to understand these two things before I can understand the population mean and population standard deviation. So no, we basically narrow down and we want to have some deep understanding of what the sample mean and sample standard deviation looks like. But we don't really get up to that. This one that we have like for chapter 13 or something like that, or 12. So we never touched the S, the sample standard deviation, but we only look at the sample mean. So we want to know, hey, what is the X bar model? What is the sample mean model? It looks really confusing, right? So, but each part of it has different models. So what has different, what kind of model is this? So we're gonna put a question mark on it, right? So model mean distributions in this case. What is the X bar model? What is the, or another word, distribution? So that's gonna be a thing that we need to highlight, okay? So what we have to do, what we have to be doing on chapter 7, part 3 will be the following things, okay? Just be patient a little bit. I know it's pretty confusing, but the information is right there. Okay, let me just point it out real quick. All right, so this is the thing that we're going to have to deal with. So we're trying to analyze the sample mean model. So what's happening for this? So let me just go to chapter 7, part 3. Part 3, which is that one. So what we have analyzed it, so we want to see, hey, what kind of model that's going to fit to my X bar, to my sample mean. So when we take like a small sample size, let's say 9 of them, and then we just start analyzing it. So the way that we analyze it, I'm not going to point it out because it would be more confusing. And then we just basically see through that, right? It looks like a normal curve when we have the size n equal to 9, right? So we only take 9 single sample, and then we started to analyze the average for each sample, for each of them, right? So the way that we analyze it, I did it on Excel. If you are more than happy to look at it, I can share the file with you guys to have a better understanding of what it is. But this is actually the core concepts of statistics going to be working out. Okay, so when we analyze it, the curve for the average, for the sample average, then we're gonna get this. Okay, so now we're going to have, yeah, when we go to let n equal to 25 instead of 9, so what happening for this? The curve going to be a little bit like it looks like a little more normal than compared to that one. So this one look a lot better. It's more like a bell shape, like a mountain that we have right there. So it's follow a key concept of the normal distributions. So that's going to be something that is really important. Okay, so when we have like the X bar, so we do the math for that. So, and then we compute it, we analyze it, and then we want to see what kind of model going to fit my sample mean. Okay, so the model that we're going to have is the normal distribution. So that's going to be something that we have every single statistic course that we have to work through this process. No matter what statistic that you take, either advanced statistics like elementary or introductory statistics, or maybe biology statistics. So when you go to the master degree, you might have to study another course like sociology statistics, we call social statistics, and it's all of that is have to work through this chapter. So this one is follow the normal distribution. That is the most important thing that we need to put in down. We need to know. Okay, this one have to be normal if we have a big enough sample size. So if my populations is normal, my curve have to be normal no matter what. Okay, so if my population is normal, so my shave of the sample mean is always normal as well. But if my population is not normal, what happening for that? So the shave is still be a normal curve uh, if we have enough data set. If the sample size increases, so this is what we have, regardless of shape of the underlying population, the sample distributions of the sample means. I mean, um, the model for like a sample means basically becomes normal as the sample size n increases. So it's always keep the two characteristics on it. I want to copy and paste so that I don't have to write them down on this. So this one is always be the thing that we're going to have the sender and the spread. So the spread of the sample data set will be something that we see right there. Okay, so I just copy and paste in this part. Yeah, this is a thing that we always have to deal with. So what is that characteristic going to tell us? When we do the average for the sample mean will be the same as the population mean in this case, and then the standard deviations of the X bar of this sample size will be equal to the standard deviation over radical n. So let's say this is what we call the standard error, okay? The word for that is basically it's basically tell us like if we have like a big data set, what's happening. If we have like an n equal to 25, you can see through that the standard deviations become really packed, right? It's not going to be something that have a big difference. But when we have something with this, like we have, so we can see that the chart is going to be increased and decreases drastically. So we need a data set change a lot more than this one, right? So this one, you can see that the change become really small and smaller and smaller when the sample size increases. Okay, so but that means this is what I call a sample error, okay, or which is called the sample standard deviation around the mean. Okay, so we're going to use this two characteristic to work on the model. So remember that we always want to look at the X bar. We want to look at the X bar no matter what happens. So I'm going to give you a few examples. For instance, I'm going to give us one example for that. For instance, I'm going to give us like, so the class average, right? The class average for our population, okay, for our population. So we consider our class of population, assuming that the class average for Math 23 that we have learned or we have done so far for the third exam for the entire math department was 65 points, okay, for instance, not for our class, okay? And then the standard deviations that we have, so we have a mean equal to 65, for instance, and then the standard deviations equal to, I would say that is the big one, depending on each teaching it, right? So let's say this one is mean equal to 65. I believe our mean average was really high. To be completely honest, I agree most of your exam, and I've watched people that did really well on the exams. So let's say the standard deviation was really big. Okay, let's say around maybe 15 point. 15 point, that's a huge, that's really good. That's really big. Maybe 10 points should be good enough. Okay, 10 points should be good. Yeah. It looks so complicated, right? Was it? Now, no, I just want to let you know what the concept is, okay? Because we can start working on a problem. Who cares about a concept after a final exam? But we need to know what it is at least, and then we work on a problem. I'm going to give you that example. So this is for the class average for the entire math department of Math 23. We had the third exam, mean and average, and then the standard deviation is equal to 10. What's happening for this series? So if you got those two data set, what happened? So let's say I just randomly, so we choose like 5 people. I choose 5 people. We choose 5 people, right? From the class average, from our class, for instance. So we consider our class is a good, is a perfect sample. So what happening for this? So we choose 5 people, and then we want to know what is the probability that all 5 of us, right? What is the probability that the average grade, for 5 of us, um, greater than, let's say, greater than 75. You see what I'm saying? So we look at the sample, the average of the sample. You see what I'm saying? Okay, this is the question that we want to deal with. Does it make sense a little bit? Yes or no? So I picked 5 of them. I want to see
Yes,
those
makes sense.
average of these 5. Remember, we're looking the average. The entire chapter for that, we're just only working out with the average of the sample. We're not working out with the population. We're working out the average of the sample. We call sample mean. This is the thing that we worked out, right? So this is really, really the thing that we have to do. Right. So let's say we know the average, we know the entire math department, the average for the third exam was 65 points and standard deviation is 10 point. So let's say I randomly pick a sample, I pick 5 people, I choose 5 people from our class, and I want to see what is the change that the average grade for these 5 people greater than 75. Right. So this is a thing that we have to work it out. Right. So this is example 1. So now I'm gonna go to example 2. Okay. And what you can do with that is relatively easy. It's not going to be really hard. So we have seen the elevators, right? The elevator has the weight limit, right? Every single elevator that you check them is always give us like the weight limits of 2,500 pounds, I believe. I'm not sure, depending on the elevators, with 16 people. Okay, 16 people. So we cannot have more than 16 people, and then the weight for that cannot be more than 2,500 pounds. Why is that? I don't know, because they design them. I have no idea what it is. If I knew it, I wouldn't be here. Okay, so this is a thing, right? So 16 people. So we have with the standard deviation, assuming that the standard deviations for each people is not going to be really big. Okay, the standard deviation, I would say, will be around each person, so the people with the standard deviation, the weight is not going to be something really really huge for that. So I would say the standard deviation is 15 pounds for each. 15 pounds do a lot, right? So let's say 12 pounds should be good enough. Okay, assuming this is a thing that we have for the people who living using, or for the people using the elevator all the time. So I just randomly picked 16 people. We randomly choose 16 people on the elevators, maybe 10 people on the elevators for that, 10 people. Okay, and then we want to see what is the probability that the weight of those 10 people going to be, what is the probability that the weight, the mean weight, okay, of those 10 people greater than of those people that we pick, the mean weight of them. We can just do their mean weight is greater than let's say 160 pound. Okay, yeah, this is the thing that we're going to do. What is that? That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense that we have, right? So we know the fact that 2,500 and we divide it by 16. So the average for that is 156.25. So the mean that we have for this problem is 156.25. Right. So now I pick a sample. For instance, I choose a sample of 10 people, and I want you to know what is the chance I can get those 10 people that have the average weight, that have the mean weight is greater than 160 pounds. So when we analyze these questions for top example, so we can see them that all 5 people that we're going to have the mean weight is greater than 75. So that would be the P of no longer the X, because we're working on the X bar, we're working on a sample mean, and then all 5 of us is greater than 75, right? So
how did you get the 156?
So we need to look at the average. So this is the population standard. So this basically consider all the people who are taking the elevator. So we need to make sure that the means cannot be more than 156.25. So how do we get that? We're going to take 2,500, we divide it by 16. So we're going to get the average weight for each person who sit on the elevators cannot be more than 156.25 for this, so those 16 people on average, correct? Because you want to have the weight limits on the elevators that not exceeding 2,500 pounds with 16 people. So, you know, each person cannot be more than 156. I mean, it's okay, but the average is cannot be more than 156. Some people was like 120 pounds, and some was like maybe 130, or some people 160, 170. So I don't know, right? So if we randomly choose 10 people, and then we want to know if the probability of their weight, of their mean weight, right, is greater than 160. You see what I'm saying? So we want to look at the average of the sample that we choose, and we want to know what are the chains that we get those sample, and then the mean, the average of them is greater than or less than a certain number, right? So we basically know what the sample looks like given by the population. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So I give you the populations, right? And then we basically keep track of the sample and see what it looks like. So remember, this is the thing that we had to deal with, but remember that. Remember, this is the value. So this is the mean, and this is standard. So we need to work through this example. So how can we work through that? So we're going to go back to the first slide. This is a part 2. I do apologize. I don't know why I put that part 3. Okay, so this is only part 2. What about a part 3? So the part 3 that we're working out is no longer the x. We're working out with the x bar. Okay, we're working out with the x bar. And then after that, we need to convert it. We need to convert to the z as well. We have to deal with the z no matter what, because we need to bring this to the standard normal. And after that, we're gonna go to table number 3 or 3A, and to look for the probability. So we call this as table 3 or 3A. 3 or 3A. And then we're gonna go to the probability P in this case scenario, right? P, probability. Okay, but the transformation is no longer the same because of what? Because of the characteristic that we have learned right there. So the mean is the mean is going to be the same, because the mean of the sample is always be the population means, because that is equal sign, but the standard deviation is no longer be the same. So that would be the sigma over radical n, and this will be the thing that we have to deal with. Yeah, just give me some time. Just give me some time. This is just the concept. It's really hard to understand, to be honest. If you want to understand fully, it takes maybe another 2 years for us. Okay, so we need to accept a certain scenario. Yeah, we don't want to understand that, right? Do we? Me too. Okay. Okay, so this is the thing for chapter 7. So remember the first page of that, where the formula sheet, correct? And the thing that we're going to have. So the mean of the x. A lot of you might be asking, what is the mean of the mean? It doesn't make any mathematical sense, right? This is the average for the sample mean, okay? This is the average. So the average for the sample mean, basically, when we have like different data set of the x bar, and then we just do the average for that. And then we're gonna get this. The standard deviations of the sample average that we have is this, right? So does it, what do you mean by the standard deviation of the average? It doesn't make any sense, but the average, we have to consider them as the data set, just like that. Okay, this is just the data set, and then we just compute the average and the standard deviation along the way. We get this, we got a certain thing, right? This is the data set we call the sample average, right? So we can pull through a lot of model for this, and then we highlight them, and then we analyze it, and this is a thing that we're gonna have. Okay. If you want to fully understand what it is, it's always good to have a project but we don't want to have the project on the on statistics, do we? No, right? So if you want to look at it, if you want to have a full understanding of what we have, I can't upload a project on it, but it's not going to be something that we have to do. Just take a look at it, and if you make sense of what I did, meaning that you understand what it is, right? So what it means by chapter 7. Okay, let me just summarize it. Okay, let me just summarize it for that. So the chapter 7 is something that we have a big population, and then we do the sampling. So this is a thing that we have, and then we have these two statistics we call X bar and the standard deviation. But we don't really care much about the standard deviation. But let's say we're gonna have like an X bar, okay? And then now I want you to know what kind of model or what kind of distributions that we're going to fit to the sample mean or the sample average. So this will be the standard normal, okay? That will be the normal distribution. And what is the characteristic for that? So the characteristic for the sample average is that the average of all of these that we consider the data set. So remember, in order to check if the X bar has the model and not having the model, then we have to form a different X bar. Like we have different different sample average, and then we compute the mean and we compute the standard deviations. We're gonna get this, okay? And this is a thing that we're going to be working out. And the transformation that we're going to be dealing with is no longer be the same. So remember that when we deal with the transformation that we have, so that would be the Z equal to X bar. So this is no longer the X, we're working on a sample average. So that would be the X bar. And then we subtract. So let me just change the marker a little bit so I don't want to use this marker. So, and then we're gonna have the Z equal to X bar. And then we subtract the mean for the X bar. Okay, so the mean for the X bar that we have is something that we're going to put them down real quick, okay? And then we divide it by the standard deviation for the X bar. Okay, yeah, and we divide it by standard deviation for the X bar. Yeah, it's always true because this follow normal curve, then we can do the Z-score, okay? But what happening for that, but we need to convert using the populations. So what's going on for this two part is we're going to rewrite this with respect to X bar minus, so the average is going to be the same. So that'll be X bar minus the average minus the mean. Okay, minus the average for that. Subtract the average and divide it by the standard deviation. So this, but the standard deviation is no longer be the same. So this one will be X, subtract the mean and divide it by the standard deviation. But remember, the standard deviation is no longer be the same because it will be the standard deviation is over radical n. So we need to convert that. That's going to be sigma over radical n. Okay, so this is a concept, but doing that is going to be really complicated, right? So the way that we're going to be working at when we convert to, that we're going to take the Z, so we're going to write them down, the Z going to be the same thing. So the Z would be the same, right? And then equal to X bar. So we're going to take the X bar and then we subtract the means, right? We subtract them. Just give me some time. I'm going to explain it to you guys. We subtract the average, right? When you convert to the standard normal, and we divide it by the Z, right? So we divide it by standard deviation. It's going to be the same. So when you divide it by the fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, right? So the standard deviation still be on the bottom. But the most important thing is that we're going to give it by the radical n. So we need to multiply the radical n at the end. So we finish the transformation in this case. Okay, so that's pretty much the thing that we have to deal with. Okay, so what happening when the question asking us to look for the probability of the mean average, if the question gives us the n, then we need, when you apply the transformations, that we multiply with radical n at the end. Okay. I'm lost here. Okay, so very, very important. So just do practice some example, and then you can see what it is. So remember, it's still be the normal curve, but what's going on for that? We're gonna be given by a different standard deviation. Okay, but during that, it's gonna be really complicated that you can check from the book. This is what the book it tells us for the formula for chapter 7. So you can see the standard score for the X bar is something that we have right there. It is very confusing to write down that way. However, if, just say if, okay, if the questions give us the radical n, what happening for that? If the questions give us the radical n, I'm sorry, give us the sample size, then we just need to multiply by radical n at the end so that I can finish the transformation, right? Talking will be a little bit useless in this case. So I feel like that's always be better that we work out with a fair example and see what it is. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do for question for chapter 7, part B, and see how it looks like. Okay, are we good?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go to question number 7, part B. All right. So suppose that now remember, if the questions gives us the n, that's going to be the thing that we're going to consider. Okay, so this is a part A for sure. Okay, this is a part B. Okay.
7 or 6? Oh, sí, 7.
Question number 7, part B. Okay, we finished part 8, so we're not going to do it again. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a part B. All right. So now what the question gives us? The question is giving us the n. How do you know if the question gives us the n? The n will be followed by the keyword random, right? We have to pick certain people by random or certain things by random. So this is n equal to 9, right? N equal to 9. So that's really important. We're going to keep them. Okay. And after that, what should we do next? We're going to highlight them. So the probability mean the P, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
And then, so we work through the sample average because the question gives us the sample. So the X bar is greater than, so exists mean what?
Greater than.
Greater than, correct? Greater than 238. 238. You know, I have talked to one friends, one colleague that we teaching different courses, and then he told me that he wanted the student to remember the concept in the next 10 years. I would say that's impossible. How's that possible? You can memorize something in 10 years. So after he actually really passionate about math, but we need to be realistic. A certain thing that we can't know it for 10 years. So generally, not everybody going to be working out at the same pace in math. And then he insists on like making a very great notes and very great lectures and want them to be able to apply every single piece of thing that he taught them. There's no way that we can do that generally. So it's a certain thing that we just knew it, and then you might apply it a part of it in a real life situation depending on the field that we want to go to. Education gives us a lot of options, a lot of perspective, a lot of things that we can choose the right path to go. So we have a lot of course to take, right? Not only from that, we have sociology, we have biology, we have chemistry, we have physics, we have English, we have a lot, right?
Lot.
Do you agree? Yes and no?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a lot of them. So we can't literally just focus on something that we require the students to learn, applying within the next 10 years. So that's a lot. We need to be realistic. Anyhow, we're going to work through with the X bar greater than 238. For me, I only require you guys to understand a concept a little bit, and then at the end of the day, you can forget everything I would find. But at least that we're gonna keep a certain key point of statistic, and that's it. We move on. Okay, the key point of statistic that I feel like that's important. So when you read an article of statistic, or we know if one person or that person not lying or lying to us. That's important. So
Well, the way you explain, I don't think we're gonna forget that easy. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
use in
yeah.
gonna
our
haunt you.
career. So
That's gonna haunt your dream. Or maybe you can help out your friend who's taking a second class.
yes.
Imagine that. That's probably gonna be the case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so we're working on the X bar. So again, they're gonna do the same thing for the transformation, but we need more space because we need to consider the radical ends in this case. So we're gonna convert to the z as well. So there's no different except for we need to multiply the radical n at the end. Right? You can see through the form that we use for this part. Okay, we just multiply by radical n. It's basically the same thing. Okay, so the x bar that so we're gonna rewrite them the form. So the form is that's really important. Right? You're gonna put them down. The z equal to so now we're not gonna work for the population. So we work for the sample mean because I took 9 Walmart stores. So the Walmart has a lot of stores around the country, but let's just pick 9 of them. And then I want to calculate if uh, the people who go to the store and pay more than $238 for those 9 stores, right? So we have this sample we call X bar, and then we subtract the mean, so the average that we have right there, and then we divide it by the standard deviation, so it's going to be the same, right? We divide it by standard deviations. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing for sure. So the standard deviations is well, I'm going to use a different marker for that. So a lot of people ask why use different markers. We don't want to divide and multiply the wrong number for that. And then we multiply the radical ends. So this is a thing that we have to take into account. Okay, so we need to, the question going to give us the n for sure. The n equal to 9. This is the thing that I need to box them. So we can see through what we're doing. Okay, so we just start working on the math. So we can have, so the x bar that we have is 238. This is the x bar. So we're going to take 238 and make sure that we open and close parentheses, make sure that we know this stuff. Okay, so we're going to open it for that. So the 238 minus, so what is the average? What is the mean? 250, right? Still be 250. We don't care.
Yes.
This is the mean is always in chain. We're going to use them. A lot of people ask, where's the average? It's right there. It's something that we,
Well, now we have it
yeah, from the point
question 1 and question 8.
Very good. From the very beginning of the question, right? So remember, you see that it's basically makes no difference. When you subtract and divide by standard deviations, it's always be the same. So we always subtract 250 and then we divide it by 17, right?
Yeah.
So we divide it by 17. But what happening for that is because the question gives us the sample and we need to multiply the radical n. Okay, which is radical 9.
That's a 9.
Which is 3, but let me just draw it out a little better. If you cannot read 9, I got nothing to say. I can't read my handwriting either. Anyway, so I was kidding for that. So remember that the reason why we have to multiply because we see that the standard deviation was over radical n, so we need to multiply by reciprocal. So I feel like it's always be better that we're going to do the same thing and then we multiply by radical n at the end, right? So it's basically the same, except for the fact that if the question gives us the n, then we just multiply the radical n so we complete the transformation. Okay, we have to complete the transformation with that. So we're gonna take, how can we do these calculations? So we're gonna, you have to open the parentheses, that's important. We're gonna take 238 minus 250 over 17 and times, oh no, I'm sorry, we do everything at once. I apologize for that. So 238 minus 250 over 17 times radical a. So we're going to hit second, and then we go to this, and then we're going to hit equal. Are we good? So the answer that we got is negative 2.11 or 2.12. It's up to you. How many of you who do not get these answers, raise your hands, right? Or tell me what it is. So the answer for that we found on the calculators is equal to negative 2.12 or 2.11. Okay, so that'll be negative 2.12. Oh, okay, so you don't get this one, right?
Can you do that again? Yes,
Yes, Professor.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just copy and paste. I'm gonna copy and paste and see what it is, and so that's really important. I just copy and paste for that, right? So that makes no sense. Just copy and paste, and I'm gonna copy this calculation, right? And then right there, this page. Are we good? Everybody sees that? So how can we do this competition? So let me just rewrite them. So first of all, that we have to open and close the parentheses for sure, right? Open 238 minus 250, and then we close it, and then we divide it by 17, and then we multiply them. How can we heat the radicand? Anyone wants to remember? We have to do what?
the second power.
The second power, and then we're gonna x squared, correct?
Yes.
And you're gonna get this done. Second power, and then x squared. Are we good?
Yes, Professor.
How many of you who cannot get this value, raise your hand. If you, how many of you are using different calculator?
A different calculator.
Which
I
one?
do.
Which
Let
one?
me see. Two.
Can somebody tell me the calculator that you're using? TI what?
TI 36X Pro.
Okay, I got this one. Okay. All right, so let me just check them out how we're gonna use this function. So just be patient a little bit, right? I know most of you got the calculations correctly, but there was still some of us who did not get it right. So so what should we do for this on this calculation on this calculator? So again, that we're going to do the same thing. We're gonna open the parentheses, right? Click open it, and then we're gonna heat two. We're gonna do the math right there, right? So we're gonna hit 238 minus 250, and then we close the parentheses. Right? You're gonna do 238 minus 250, and then we close parentheses, right?
Yeah.
Then we divide. We have a divide right there. Divide by 17, right? And then we multiply. We hit second. You see the second right there.
Yeah.
And then the x squared.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna hit 9 because n equal to 9, and then we close parentheses for that. And then we're gonna hit enter. What do you get?
Oh yeah, same answer.
2.117. So we
52.117.
put
Okay, you can keep me negative
2.11.
Yeah, we can keep you. Make sure that you have to keep me 2 decimal number. You can't give me 4 or 3.
Yes.
Because the chart only had 2 decimal number, right? Unless you're gonna ask the order to make 4 decimal number. I don't think that he's willing to do it because in order to make 4 or 3 decimal number, you're gonna need another 10 pages. That's gonna be closer to read all of that. You know, I'm not gonna do it. So because when you do like 3 decimal, you're gonna take like negative 2.12, 2.122. That's gonna be a lot of work. So 2 decimal number is good enough. Okay, you can either round up or round down. So you're gonna get negative 2.12 for that part. If you keep negative 2.11, I give you full credit for that. There's no big deal. Okay, so after that, we need to consider this guy's negative or positive. So do we agree this value is negative, right?
Yes.
If you say positive, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna give up on you. I was kidding. Okay, we're gonna argue a little bit. Why negative 2.12 is negative? So because we call it negative, as simple as that. So let me just change to.
So,
yeah.
Professor, do we have to go to the charts?
I'm sorry.
Do we have to go to the chart, the table 3A?
We have to go to table number 3 and 3A, depending on the value that we got right there.
Okay.
2.3. Negative 2.1.
Yeah.
So
So I think most of the question that we did was on table number 3, was it, or something like that?
Negative 2.1.
negative 2.1.
And 0.07. 0.0170.
Okay. So that makes sense. Let me just go to table number 3 and let's see what it is, okay? So we need to go to negative 2.12, correct? So let me just copy this and post this right there. All right. And let me just copy this one. Just want to make sure that we add it to the right column. Correct? Okay, and then we're going to copy this. I'm doing kind of slow. Just want you guys to be able to see through what it is. I understand that it's the thing that we're gonna have to do on the exams. 2.12, we don't need like all of them, just have part of it. So we're gonna go to negative 2.1. And then, so negative 2.1, 0.00, 0.01, 0.02. So we have to be on this ones, right? Right, so we can read that as 2.12. So what is the answer for that? So that'd be 0.017. Are we good?
Yes.
And let me just fill up the box right there. So that becomes negative 2.12. So let me just make it a little bigger. So that fit to the thing that we have right there. Yeah. Okay. And then after that, we're gonna read on a chart the value that we got here. Do we have to subtract from 1, everyone's? Yes, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The value is greater than, so we're gonna take 1 minus. So some of you might be asking me why I keep 0 in the back. It's gonna be the same. So, but I just basically just add a 0. This is what I found in the chart, so you can see through that. We're gonna take 1 minus 0.017. You can put 0 in the back, doesn't matter. But so the answer for that is 0.983. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're gonna do another 3 more problems. So we want to make sure that we understand the concept well. Do we agree?
Professor,
Yeah.
can you, the new questions, will you start from step 1 all the way to step 3?
From the step 1 to the step 3.
Because I'm getting very confused. Like, if you could, so I want to see the steps, like maybe from 1 to 3. Then I know, okay, you're supposed to do this, let's do this, and finish it here, and then you're done.
Yeah, this is the older thing that we had. So the first of all that we need to highlight the questions, right? So the question gives us n equal to 9, usually from part B questions. I told you that it's going to be the same on the second exam, final exam. The part B always gives us the n, and then looking for the x bar is greater than something, and then we're going to start working on it. You're going to rewrite them, but instead of writing down the x, we're going to put down a little hat, like a little bar on top of the x, and then we're going to subtract the mean divided by standard deviation and multiply the radical ends. And this is a thing that we just basically use the same concept, except for the fact that
The radical.
the radical end, we need to multiply them before we complete the z transformation. So remember that we can't just
And that's fine.
yeah, the x or just x bar is simple as that. Yeah, it's a very good to notice. This is also a good way to get a good grade on the exam. So we just notice the key difference that we have right there. So we need to multiply by radical and we complete the transformation right there. So after we get to this value, just read the same thing that we have done for part 8, that we go to negative because this value is negative, and then go to table 3, and then you read it and you have to subtract from 1. Now, why do you have to subtract from 1, everybody? So because the size is greater than, so we have to subtract from 1 right there, correct? Are we good?
So, Professor, how do we know that the one you don't subtract 1?
Then we're
Can you
gonna then we're gonna go to a certain questions that without subtract from 1 and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Professor, can you go back a little bit? I have a question about that one.
Which one?
This that point 983. So do you have to round up on that place?
No, you don't
Any
have.
answer you have, even if you have 4 digits, can you just leave everything there?
The only thing that we have to round up and down would be on the z-score.
Yes,
Because,
okay.
the z is something that we don't have enough space, so we need to route like up or down a little bit.
Okay. All right.
My
Thank you.
calculator. So I show you this calculator, this calculation. So if you tell me that you don't do well on it, so making sure that we follow this step on the TI-83. If you're using different calculators, I would consider you follow the step right there. And I can print if you still have trouble with that. I'm gonna do it on the office hour. I can show you how you do this. Right,
I don't
open
have this calculator, but I use it on my phone and have the same answer.
Oh, okay. And that's work out. All right. So now we're gonna go to I don't care as long as you get the correct answers, you can get it out. It's perfectly okay. So let's do question number 8. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yes and no. We're gonna work through all the
Yes.
example and see.
Yes, we'll do.
Okay. And so again, that I'm gonna copy and paste. So this question was a little bit long. That was gonna be 2-part. So I'm gonna save some space for that, and hopefully I can see to what it is. Can you guys see it, or should I make it
Yes.
bigger?
Yes.
I should make it a little bigger for that, right? But we don't think I have enough space for 2-part. I can't really move on to the next page. It's really hard to read, and it's really hard to see. So I just do it on one single page for part A and part B questions, right? And now we're gonna do for part question number 8. So we're gonna spend 70 minutes on average. So this one is the mean, right? So we're gonna circle with this marker because on average, this is the mean and the standard deviation is 20. So I'm gonna use a different marker for that. So you can see, so this is the standard deviation. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna rewrite the mean with this marker so you can see so that the mean equal to 70. On the exam, you don't have to do that, right? I know what it is, so you don't have to show me, all right, so my mean, I'm using blue, and then the standard, I'm using flowers, purples, or green, orange. You don't have to do that, right? I know.
I use all pencil. I don't know how you see it.
Yeah, that's it. You're not gonna show me, well, okay, the mean, I'm gonna have to use orange markers. Come on, man. You don't have to show me, right? I completely understand. But if you show me, I appreciate it. It's because I love it. Yeah, it's being a little bit colorful for that. So now we're gonna go to the standard deviation. Okay. The standard deviation equal to 20. I just put them down as 20. And just make sure that you don't draw the pictures on the exam. That should be great. Now we're gonna highlight a question for that. So this one we call P. Do we agree?
Yes.
And the part A, no N, right? So this one we call X. So the word less than mean what? Less than 60. Do we agree? So this one less than 60. Yes or no?
Yes.
And for the part B, so this one that we have is N. Do we agree?
Yes.
Why do we know this is the N? Because we followed by the
Randomly
keywords randomly selected. And this one is P. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Usually, how do you know which one is N? The X usually followed by the keyword, like a certain keyword for that exists means what?
Greater.
Greater than. Average times
Average timing.
X bar.
X bar.
Yeah, X bar. Okay, so we work on the X bar for part B. Remember that we work on the X bar? And so what does that mean? Like, so let's say we have the people who go to the gym and then they spend 70 minutes per week, okay, with the standard deviation 20. So let's say I randomly pick 49 members. It may be we have 1,000 members going to the gyms every week, but let's say we pick the randomly 49 members. I want to know if these 49 people, they spend on average more than 75 minutes on a gym per week. So this is what the question looks like. Okay, so now we're gonna work on a question. Do we agree?
Yes.
So the part A questions that we're going to be working through with the probability of the X greater than less than 60, right? So this one less than 60. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, so less than 60. So let me just make it a little bigger for that. So I don't think it's big enough, but as long as I can see through, I'm happy with this. Okay, and then convert to the z, less than as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, less than something, we don't know. We're gonna keep the psi for that. Do we agree? And then we just put them there with this transformation. So the transformation for that will be the z equal to x, right, minus the means and divided by the standard deviations. Do we agree?
Yes.
And then we
Yes.
minus the mean, and then we divide it by the standard deviations. So divided by standard deviation. I'm gonna change the marker a little bit. I don't change for fun, but remember the reason why I change it, I want to make sure that people don't make the same mistakes. We're gonna different value. So the x that we have is 5 from the question 60, right? So we take the 60 and then we subtract the average for that. So the average that we have is 70, and then we divide it by the standard deviation. All right, so I do apologize for the disconnection for that. Okay, so so I apologize for that. So there's a little mistake that we have right there. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so we work through this, and then we divide it by the standard deviations. Okay, so we divide it by standard deviation, which is 20. So put down 20. Okay, so we divide it by 20.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're gonna do it in calculators for that. So I'm not gonna show us the calculations like this because that's
0.5.
It's 0.5. I'm gonna take 60 minus 70 over. So when I open and close prints, I can just combine them at once, right? And divide it by 20, I got 0.5, negative 0.5. Okay.
Yeah.
And negative 0.5, this one is negative. So this have to go to table number 3. Right.
3.
And if this value is positive, then we have to go to table number 3. And you're gonna see through more problem like this on the exam review. So I do apologize for that. So most of the value that we have is negative, but we never go to table number 3A for some reason. But we're gonna see them on the part B questions that we have to go to table number 3A. So so this one that we have to go to negative 0.5 on the chart. So the chart going to give us negative 0.5 right there, correct? So I just copy and paste and go to this column. Okay, so I'm going to box these answers, which is negative 0.5 right there. And that's pretty much thing. And then I'm going to take I just need the first row, right? The first column. So we don't, yeah, we don't need the anything else. So, and I'm gonna just do it right there. I don't need this. So that, what is the answer for that?
0.3085.
Yeah, so this will be a thing, right? So let me just finish this. Remember, you have to finish that on the questions. So this is negative 0.5. Okay.
Professor,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. How do you know it's 0.3085?
Because we need to go to negative 0.5.
Negative 0.5, yeah.
Sorry. And the table 3, mamita.
Negative 0.5 and negative 0.5 and 0.00 because it doesn't have the second decimal number.
Okay, so that means you count the 3 places from points negative 5.
Yeah, negative
0.5, right?
Yeah, but since it doesn't really have a second decimal number, yeah.
Okay.
Since it doesn't have a second decimal number, so we have to go to the first column for that. So the first column that we have is 0.00.
And the second is
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is negative. This is 0.01. So let's say I got the answers, which is negative 0.52. What should we do? Then we have to go
to the 2.
There we go.
Yeah.
Go to the 2. You're just using a same column, which is negative 0.5, but we go to the 2. It depends on the second decimal that we have.
Yeah.
So if the question doesn't have a second decimal, then we have to go to the first one, right? The
Point
first.
00.
Mhm. So
Okay, thank
what
you.
is, you're very welcome for that. So do you remember this? So this is the sign less than. So what is the answer for that? So the answer
Point
is
3085.
13085.
13085.
Do we have to subtract from 1?
No.
No?
No, because the side less than, we don't have to subtract from 1. That easier because
Yes.
because the side less than telling us that after we read the chart, this will be the final answers. Okay, so let me just repeat that
Okay.
again. After we read the chart, if the sign is less than, so that will be the final answer. You don't have to subtract from 1. Are we good?
Yes.
And then we're gonna go to the part B questions. Part B question was a little bit tough. Why is tough?
Because it's 7.
Because give us the and, so we need to do it. So x bar greater than 75, correct? And now we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna give some small space for it because um, it's literally something that we have to convert to the z, and we're gonna keep the side greater than, right? Why do we have to get more space for it? Because I need to do the transformation with the radical end at the ends, right? And then the thing that we're going to put them down right there, so we're gonna do the same. So that would be the z equal to the x bar. So we no longer the x, we're gonna take the x bar, and then we subtract the means. We subtract the mean in this case. And then after that, we divide it by the standard deviations. Okay, we divide it by the standard deviations. So I use different marker for the standard deviations. I do for that. And then are we finished? No, right? Remember, that's really important. If the question gives us the n, then we need to multiply by radical n. So that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. So remember, if you get it wrong on the exam, I take away. If this question was 10 point, I take away 4 points because that's important. If you forgot the end, even if all the step that you did was correct, but this is the wrong concept. This is working on a sample. When it comes to the sample, that we always have the x bar. This is on a sample mean because we take randomly 49 members. We don't take all members going to the gym, right? Going for this gym. So we only take 49 members is coming from a sample and making sure that we need to multiply with radical n because the question gives us radical n. So that's important. Okay, just want to let you know that's really important. So we're gonna take them, and then we going to do the math for that. So what is the calculation that we need to put them down? So the number was 75, correct? 75 minus the mean. What is the mean? The mean that we
70.
found here was
70.
70, right? If you make some little mistake, I might take away 1 point. I still follow your staff. But if you forgot the radical and, that is the wrong concept. Okay, that's really important. So we divide it by the standard deviation. So the standard deviation that we have
20.
20. So we divide it by 20. And then we multiply. So let me just change them off a little bit. Okay. And then we multiply by what?
49.
Radical n, which is
49.
49.
49.
Okay, radical 49.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
7.
Okay. And then, so we're going to do the calculator, right? So we're going to take 75 minus 70. Okay, so I think I got a little sidetracked for that. So I think I need to mute a little bit. Okay. Okay. So you can unmute when you want to say it. So let me, because I got a little sidetracked for that. Okay. Just let me know. And after that, we divide it by 20, and then we multiply by radical 49 for this part, and then that's it. We're gonna get the answers for that, which is 1.75. Are we good? And I do apologize. I have to move because I'm afraid. Just let me know if they get it right or get it wrong. So
That's the final answer, 1.75.
so that is the answers for the z-score. This is not a final answers. This is just the answer that we got here, which is 1.75. Okay.
Yes.
1.75. Very important that we're gonna get this right. And so and after that, what should we do next, everyone?
1
Um,
minus
Going to the
1.75.
table.
No, we haven't really got to that yet. We need to identify if this is positive or negative, right? So this one is positive.
Positive.
Then we have to go to table number.
3A.
Very good. Table number 3A. That's very important. We're going to go to table number 3A, right? And then, of course, I'm going to make it a little smaller so I can see through what it is. So now we can use the same chart that we have learned, that we have to go to the positive chart. Okay, so we're going to go to 1.7 and 0.05. This is the thing that we have to deal with. Are we good? And then just
Yes.
copy and paste, just making sure that we can head it to the correct column. So remember that if this is positive, then we have to go to table number 3A. And then I'm going to copy this column. Do we agree? And then just go to the next chart for that. Okay. And then we're going to read it right there. On the exam, should we post this? No, right? We don't have to. We just literally just read the chart and tell me what it is, and that will be the thing that we have to look for. Okay, so this is, we have to go to what? We have to go to 1.7 and then 0.05, so 0.0012, 3, 4, 5. So there should be this value. Do we agree? Right, so this one is 0.05.
98.
0.9599. Yes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Wait.
Okay. Take your time until
I'm
you get it.
sorry.
That's okay. That's perfectly okay. I'll take your time.
I'm sorry. 2.2. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, I'm okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome for that. Okay. So we're going to put them down here. So this is 1.75. Okay. 1.75. And I might make it a little bigger for that. So, and so we're going to read the chart, correct? So we're going to read the chart. We're going to file the value on table number 3A, which is 0.9599. Is it the final answers?
No.
Why is this is not a final answers?
Hater.
We have to subtract by one
Yeah, we have
from.
to subtract from 1, right? From what we have right there, because the size greater than, right? If the size less than, you don't have to. It's easier. So I would prefer giving 1 less than 1 greater than on the exams. So we subtract them on a calculator. So we're gonna get 0.041.
040.
Okay, or 0.
Oh yeah, 41. 0.401. Yes.
So no argue with it. So I'm gonna copy this calculation because I feel like this calculation is relatively challenging, right? I'm gonna
Okay, yeah. You have to give out another hour for the test, please.
Okay, that's perfectly cool. I like that. Give you more all information for that. Okay, and then we're gonna just copy this one. You don't even need this parentheses at the end for this calculator. So we're gonna get 1.75. I'm gonna copy these pictures and POTUS here so you can see what we're doing. Okay, I'm gonna copy. So the one that we're using is Texas Instruments of TI-83 Plus. Okay, this one is something that we have right there. So I'm gonna copy these calculators. Okay, how happy? Are we good?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
box the answers as well, making sure that we box the answers for the answer for part B, and we're done. So let me double check the answers if we got it right. So for question number 8B, what is the answers? 0.041, so 0.3085. Yeah. Are we good?
Yep.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Okay.
Yes.
On the chart for the second one, where did you get the 0.05? Because I don't see it in the question or anywhere else.
So we're going to take 60 minus 70. So we're going to take 60 minus
Divided on
70,
20.
and then we divide it by 20, correct? So we're going to got
Mhm.
this, which is negative 0.5.
Mhm.
So after we got negative 0.5, so we know this value is negative, then we're going to go to table number 3, correct?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go to the chart right there, table number 3. And then so table 3, this is table 3A, it's all positive value. You can't find any negative value for table number 3, but when we go to table number 3, we can see through that the value that would correspond to negative 0.5 right there. So we're gonna take this column, right? And then you point to 0.00. So negative 0.5, 0.00. So that'll be on the first column. The answer for that is 0.3085.
Mhm.
Are we good? Are we
Yeah.
good for that?
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
you're very welcome. Okay, so if you have any concern, make sure that we're gonna ask me this. That's really important. Okay, so that's pretty much the thing that we had to do for chapter 7. Any concern, any question? Is it confusing now? No, right? Yeah, so the concept is one
No.
thing, but working on the problem is different story. Why is different story? Because we just basically take a trick where we have like and, then we have to multiply by radical n. Okay, so I think that we have done for question number 6A, but we haven't done it for question number 6B. Correct? So let me just do it one more question before we leave. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do question number 6B right there. Since I don't have enough space, so I might just, I'm gonna do on the same chart, but can I get rid of this image? It's not gonna be really important. So we know what it is. Okay. Okay, so let's do question number 6B right there. Um, Let me just do question number 6. I don't think I have enough space. I'm gonna try to write it small so I can see through what it is. Okay. Okay, so it might not be having enough space. I apologize. I took up too much space for that. Okay, so let's do question number 6B. Okay, I'll just side with question. All right. So so we have, so I'm going to read the question for that. So this is this is the and. Do we agree?
Yes.
Why this is ands followed by the keyword random, and then this is the probability p, right? And this is the n, and that one. So this is the x bar, the mean times, right? So we're going to x bar, and what does that mean by no more than?
Less than.
There we go. So this one is less than 13. So less than 13 units. All right, so I want to rewrite the questions. Do we agree? I want to rewrite a question for that. I want to take only 16. Okay, so I apologize. I did not have enough space. I tried to do it, but I forgot it. Okay, so x is less than 13. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yes or no? And then we're going to convert that to, it's not the x, this is x bar. And then we're going to convert to the z, right? To the probability of z. So less than something, we don't know. So we're going to add to that later on. Okay, so this one, the x bar. And then after that, we need to do the transformation. So again, I apologize. I think I should get rid of this, make it a little bigger, but anyhow, so it's too late for that. And then we're gonna go to the z score. The z, how can we do the z? So the z that we have will be equal to what? The z will be, let me show you right. The z doesn't look nice to me. Okay, so the z would be x bar minus the mean and divided by standard deviation. So when we subtract the mean, I want to use a different marker for that. Just want to make sure that we do not get confused with the mean and standard deviation. And then we divide it by the standard deviation right there. And then we multiply the radical ends, correct? We multiply the radical end in this case. Are we good?
Yes.
And what's happening for this is the fact that we're going to um, set the equal size right there. And we have to open the parenthesis for this. Um, so, and making sure that we have to do with the parentheses. So, so the x will go to 13 and minus the mean will be 12, correct? So we close parentheses for that. And just making sure that we use the correct marker. And then we divide it by the standard deviation. So the standard deviation that we have is 2.5, still being changed, so that we have to do the 2.5 in this case, right? We're gonna go for question number 6B. Okay, so 2.5. Remember the standard deviation is 2.5 right there. And then we haven't finished that, we need to multiply by radical ends, right? Remember that we can't stop right there because the question gives us the n equal to 23, right? So we're gonna take that number into account. Are we good? Yeah,
Yes.
multiply the radical
Yes.
23. Do you believe I'm going too slow? I got some student
Are
like
you okay? You okay?
passing out.
Can be faster than that because
Okay, yeah,
it's a lot of detail.
1.91.
I have a student passing out like during the
No.
lectures. This is I don't know, but anyhow, we're gonna do it on this calculator. Do we agree? So I'm gonna take 13 minus 12 over 2.5 times radical 23. I always believe that, you know, working out with the lectures slowly, like 2 questions better than working fast with 10 questions. I don't know, it is just my feeling. Yeah. So the answer for that we found, which is 1.91, right? Or we can just route it to 1.92. We can tip 1.91, doesn't matter. Remember, the routing, I never take away points on the exam. Just don't worry about this. The only thing that matters is that we're going to plug in the right correct values, the x given from the question, subtract the mean, divided by standard deviation. The n will be coming from part B, will be radical 23. So the answer for that in this case will be 1.91. Are we good? 1.92.
Yes.
Okay, so this value is positive. Is positive, and this one is table number 3A. Do we agree?
Mm-hmm.
So, Professor, in the exam, we don't have to show the positive or they will.
Yeah, you know, I know it's positive already, but I just want to show you guys this is positive. Okay. On the exam, you don't have to show me this for sure. Why you don't have to show me this? Because I know it. You don't have to show me this, but on the nose, the reason why I'm showing you that because I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So let's just change to and then after we get this value, what should we do? Then we're gonna go to table number
1.92.
1.92, right? We're gonna go to the chart of 1.9 and 0.02, right? So the value that I can find right there is 0.9726. So we have to go to the column 1.9 first.
Okay.
Go to 0.02.
Here you go.
Yeah. So I'm trying to box the columns in this case. Just want to make sure that we have this. On the exam, you don't have to do that, right? I know what it is. I just want to show you this. And I want to box this one for sure. And then put it to the question. Where my question is, where my questions is right there. Okay.
2. 1, 2. So 0.9726.
Very good. So we have to go to the 1.9 and 0.02, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 0.02. So that one is 1.900, this is 0.02 right there. And the answer that we found right there was 0.9726. So I'm going to block these answers for sure. Just want to make sure that this is the final answer that we found right there. And then, so just let me put them down. So 1.92 should be right there. We're going to put them. I'm going to put it here, 1.92, and let me just make it a little bigger. And after that, so we just basically finished conversion from X bar to the Z, and we're going to put them down, the answers for that. So what are the answers? The answers will be equal to 0.9726. Do we have to subtract from 1?
No.
Yes.
No.
No, because no more mean less than, right? So we don't have
Less than.
1. We only subtract from 1 when we have a side greater than. So this is very important. We need to know whenever that we put out less than, whenever that we put out greater than, right? So 0.9726 will be the final answer. Is that we good?
Yep.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. We did 3 questions. I believe that should be good enough, correct? If you need more questions, let me know. Let's just go over it. It's basically the same step. So let me just copy this calculator function. So we just want to make sure that we have this done correctly. And we just.
Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be on quiz number 4?
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a question like that. One would be with the transformation without ends, and one with the end.
Okay.
So again, how do you know if the question doesn't give us the end? Of course, it doesn't. There's no end. Okay, there's no end. You don't see any end right there. Okay, but how do you know if the question gives us the end? This has to be given, followed by the keyword. Oops. I think I forgot to put it there right there. I think I highlighted it, but for some reason I forgot it. Okay, and come back to this line. All right, so this is the calculator. Okay, are we good?
Yes.
That's it. And that's pretty much the thing that we have to deal with. There's nothing else.
Professor, I got a
Chapter
question.
7. Yeah.
So for homework 6 and 7, we use this, right?
No, for homework 6.
The 7.
For homework 6 is not this. Homework 7 and 8 will use this.
Okay, all right.
For 7, we don't even use the part B. We just use part A, because the homework.
Yeah, because I already did homework 7 was due already, right?
Is due.
And yeah, I already did homework 7. I don't see part B on 7.
Yeah. The part B will be given from homework 8. Yeah, so we can check them on Blackboard. Let me just go over it real quick before we take attendance and call it a day. So this is homework 8 right there.
Yeah.
So you can see through that. So this is the fast food restaurant, use whatever it is. Okay. So part A.
So
the part A, we don't have the end. Do we agree?
Yes.
For part B, we have 4, n equal to 4. You see that? So this is have to be the part B question. Okay, with the radical n. Similarly for the reliable taxes, whatever it is, so the responding time is 15 minutes, for instance. So for part A, there's no n, right, at most.
So only we have to do B?
For part B.
And B for both.
Yeah, part B usually gives us the n. So the n that we have is 22 pickup calls. So n equal to 22. Do we agree? And then we're gonna do that no less than whatever it is, right? Are we good?
Let's see. Do we have practice? Some practice on chapter 8.
We have a lot of this right there. Chapter 7, we have 8 questions for practice.
I know. I have those here. I even have.
Okay.
You need more. We don't have different ones. Okay. So.
Do we need more? Do we need more?
No. That's okay. That's okay.
I'm gonna give you another 100 questions to practice.
No, please. No, I think you put it like, I don't know. It was my mistake. So
that's okay. It's no big deal. It's always good to ask more questions to practice. Just kidding. Okay. I love that too. But anyhow, so this is a thing that we have to deal with for question number 6A, 6B, and question number, I believe that we finished for 7A and B as well, and question A and B.
Sir,
Yeah.
when are you gonna give us the next quiz for chapter 7?
Next quiz gonna be next Saturday, so that'll be on November 14th.
Oh, we don't have no quiz today, right?
Today no quiz, right? Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, no quiz.
okay.
And after that, we're going to have the review on 21st, and then the exams on that day.
And the quiz. And the quiz.
Professor, please don't forget to email me my grade for quiz 3 since it's not posted. Johanna de Rosario.
Absolutely, Johanna.
Today's
I'm gonna email you for the query real quick for that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Melissa
And-
Perez too. I emailed you already, Professor.
Oh, you that even more convenience for me. Thank you very much. I really love that. So I love some active email rather than the passive email like that. So that would be great. So again, that there'll be no chart in Excel because unless you want to understand it like clear, you just email me. I can send you the chart. I don't want people to get sidetracked from learning the Excel chart, like what it means, but how we gonna get the data set from the X bar, like how we gonna solve for the mean and standard deviation. And some people might be asking me how we actually got this, right? It's not quite easy. So the Excel is not gonna be part of it unless that you want to study a little bit more on it. So I will show you what it is, but generally, this is the thing that we have to know, okay? And I believe those are good enough for us when it comes to the second exams. So remember, chapter 7 is going to be most point. Do you think it's kind of confusing? In terms of concept, yes, but in terms of the word problem, it's no, right? It's basically a thing that we have been working out for the past 2 weeks. And
Part B is a little confusing, but I'm just gonna
Yeah,
review the work again because I still don't get it
Yes.
100%, honestly.
so
Yeah.
do you get 99% at least? All right.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so multiple.
I will
Remember
find
the
out
questions.
once I do the homework.
Yeah.
That's
So the
where I
question.
really find out if I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question was radical A. So that'd be radical 49 in this case, and so on. That would be the only thing that makes them different. And then when you write them down, you just put that X bar instead of the X. That's okay. So I'm gonna take attendance and call it a day. I do apologize.
Okay.
So I hold you guys for too long for today. Okay, chapter 7 is really important. But when you come back to next
But your
week,
birthday passed.
I'm the next week gonna be more work. Okay, so we need to work them out a little bit more. But the next week,
Okay, so I need help with the calculator, so I have to go to the office hours.
yeah, so we can go to his office hour at 11:30 and take a break for
I gotta email you.
you don't have to just join to the office hours by clicking on this
Okay.
yeah, click on the office hour on Zoom. You can see me there. I'll be there waiting for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So
Yes.
TR36.
So do I have to join the office hour to get the grade for the exam 3?
You want to, if you want, you can pop a little bit if you want. So it's not obligated. So assassinato is here.
Professor, you can send it on email, right?
Yeah, we can send an email.
I have another class now. I don't think I'll be on the office hour.
Absolutely, I understand. Jessica is here. Jessica. So after we got the attendance taken, we'll see you guys next Saturday, and I hope you guys are going to have a great week. Jessica, David is here. Blaze?
Yes, Davida.
Absolutely. Capone is here for sure.
Yes, yes.
Monica? Monica is here. Okay. David, Cruz. David?
Yeah.
Here. Absolutely. Okay. And then after that, we have your hand for sure is here. You asked me, you email me.
I'm here.
Battles?
Yes.
It's absolutely.
Okay.
Mai is here. Masha is here. And Montlene is here. Montlene. Absolutely. And Sophia. Sophia is here, right? Sophia.
Mom, I'm Joy.
Yeah. And Bereni.
Here.
Absolutely. Matt. Matt is here, sir. Matt is not here. Matthew is not here. Mariso is there?
Yeah.
Mariso?
Yeah.
Okay. Dukas is also here for sure, 100%. And then Tammy is here? Mm-hmm.
Here.
Absolutely. And Tristan? Yeah, have a great weekend, you too, Azure. And Koichi's for sure. Junior? Junior, sir? Junior is not here. Nico? Nick? Nico is here? All right, Melissa is here, right?
Here.
And Azure is here, Admiral is here, Marlene is here, Israel?
Yes, I'm here. I mean,
Okay, Israel is not here. Anyhow, yes, I called you and I marked you present. No worry about that. So now you guys are going to have a great weekend and make sure that we're gonna do homework 7. I'm gonna upload a grade for the quiz real quick for that, and we can see me during the office hours. If you have any trouble with the calculators, you can also see me during the office hour as well. Take care. Have a great weekend.
you
See you
too.
next Saturday.
You too.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Bye bye.